Aloha everyone, it's Lady, your friendly neighborhood hesher, and welcome to the Hesh Files, a place where I interview musicians about all of the strange and unusual things that they see out on the road. So strap on your best high tops, ease the seat back, and get ready to be a metaphorical fly on the wall because we're going heshing. Aloha everyone, I'm your host Lady, and welcome back to the Hesh Files. Today we're heading out to Long Island, New York. I've got Rick Jimenez from This Is Hell and Extinction A.D. Welcome to the Hesh Files, my dude.
Hey man, I love being involved with anything hesher.
Yeah, I mean, I had to get you guys in here. I mean, when I was thinking of this, I mean, you guys were top of the list for whatever hesh is. I mean, it's This Is Hell is hesh.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you give us an aloha and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh boy, I am a perpetual child, despite how old I may or may not be. I play guitar and do a little bit of singing in This Is Hell, and I play guitar and do most of the singing in quotes, screaming, singing poorly in Extinction A.D. I play in a bunch of other bands, but I mean, those have been my two main bands over the course of the past 20 years or so. What else? As you could see behind me, I'm a wrestling figure toy collector.
Yeah, I was wondering what those were back there.
Yeah, I'm doing like a remodel right now, so
nice.
I'm like mirrored here, so you can see I have like some empty shelves here because I'm in the process. But then the other side, avid comic book collector. There's all those.
Hell yeah.
Shelves of comic books.
I had an assumption that you were a comic book guy because on some of your pictures, there's been some Wolverine shirts and some things like that. So I was like, I feel like this guy likes the comic books.
Yeah, dude, I'm just like this dork nerd who refuses to grow up and just like masks it by like, hey, I go to the gym and I have facial hair. I'm like a grown adult, I promise.
I assure you, I'm a functioning adult.
Well, semi-functioning adult.
Well, rad, man. That's rad. No, I like the stuff back there. I mean, it actually looks just like my sister and her fiance's room where they do their recording. I mean, he's a very avid action figure guy, and they're both very big on comics and movies. So, I mean, it feels like I'm kind of looking at their room right now. Pretty cool. So, I mean, first things first, man, I wanted to ask, how the hell was that Comeback Kid show in Brooklyn you just played? Speaking of 20th anniversaries.
Yeah,
Wake the Dead.
Dude, it was rad. We were psyched to be asked to play that. I mean, we've played with This Is Hell. This Is Hell doesn't get to play shows very often because Extinction A.D. is the main band right now. Everybody in This Is Hell is, playing in other bands or has other regular life commitments. So it's kind of like we do what we could do when it's offered, if it seems like it's going to be a good time, if it's going to be fun. So Comeback Kid is Comeback Kid is absolutely the band that This Is Hell's played the most with. We've I don't even know how many tours we've done with Comeback Kid. I know toured all over the States with them several times, all over Canada with them several times.
Rad.
All over Europe, all over Australia. So
Damn.
We've been to 3 continents with Comeback Kid. If I had to just like pull it out of my ass, I'd say we was probably, about 6 different tours.
Wow.
Well over 200 shows together.
Holy shit.
At least a certain lineup of This Is Hell and a certain lineup of Comeback Kid. We all have like matching tattoos and stuff. So
awesome.
When the 20th anniversary Wake the Dead tour got announced, let alone the Brooklyn show, we were all going to just go.
Yeah.
Because we're fans of the humans and fans of the band and fans of the album. So the tour was announced before, individual lineups for the shows were announced. I think Tom from This Is Hell and Extinction A.D., he already bought tickets as soon as they went on sale.
Wow.
And then it was, oh, hey, we got asked to play the show. Like, oh, cool. Part of me even felt guilty because, like I said, we don't play very often. We're working on a new EP, but we don't have a new record to promote or anything. So I was like, yo, we're like taking a spot from a younger active band that could do something with this spot.
Yeah.
So I did have a little guilt over that. But to be honest, I got over it real quick. So I said, well, I was going to go to the show anyway. So now I get to go and play and, reunite with some old buds. I mean, we see some of those guys whenever we pass through specific areas with Extinction AD anyway, or just wind up crossing paths with those guys. But it's always fun to see your friends when
Right.
you're at home, and it just gave us another excuse to get together and practice and play a show. But the actual show was rad,
Okay.
which you always hope that for a home show.
Hmm.
But at this point, I don't take anything for granted. We could play at home with the most perfect bands ever, and we could still, in my reality at least, any show could be, we sucked, the crowd wasn't feeling it, all these things.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many external factors that can make or break that show, no matter how well you guys are prepared.
Yeah, yeah. Fortunately, every single thing about it was easy. I didn't even get stuck in traffic driving into Brooklyn for a change, which is
Nice.
crazy. And it was just, Defeater played, old
Yeah.
friends of ours also. So it was, hey, we got to see these buds, we got to see those buds. Like, hey, you want to go up on stage and play? Like, yeah, we know these songs like the back of our hands. Some of these
Damn.
songs we played a brand new song, but aside from that, the newest song that we played is from what, 2012? So it's like, this stuff is kind of, even at this point, still kind of second nature,
Hmm.
but we do it so rarely that it's still fun and fresh when we do get to do it. So the
Okay.
fact that all of that, we had an excuse to hang out with our friends, get up on stage and play. And then the fact that like, hey, this crowd is loving it. This is old friends and old fans and new friends
Hmm.
and new fans. And Orthodox was opening the show.
Hell yeah.
Those are kids that we never knew before.
Hmm.
And like, what's more fun than playing a show where it's your old friends and then younger, newer people who wind up becoming your friends or friendly at least, and the one day you get to hang out with them.
Yeah. No, that sounds awesome.
They're like just super excited. They have that
Hmm.
youthful energy of which you should have if you're playing in any band, but especially a hardcore band. And you're on like a fun tour, like
Right.
Defeater and Comeback Kid. So overall, like everything about the show was good, and nothing about the show was bad, which is like
Perfect.
that's awesome.
Yeah. You couldn't ask for a better night then.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Awesome. Well, after that, I saw that you guys had done, well, not This Is Hell, but Extinction AD did a little mini run.
Yeah, so Extinction AD, we kind of go back and forth from being super busy and then kind of regrouping and chilling out and,
Okay.
and spreading our time amongst, instead of, hey, we're going out for a month and a half, coming home for a month, going out for another 3 weeks, coming home for a month. That's typically what we do when we release the new record
Mhm.
or whatever, said record is at the time. We released our fourth full length, To the Detested, in August. And we had been pretty busy essentially from once like COVID lockdown ended,
Yeah. Yeah.
essentially up until late 2023.
Okay.
And at that point, that was when, hey, let's hop into the studio, record this new record. And then we kind of bided our time until the record came out, and then we hit it hard. And now we're kind of in I guess, a little bit of a chilling out period where we're working on new music. We did a whole bunch of videos and like all this other stuff.
Rad.
But it's kind of, separating our time now. Like we did some weekend shows in September and November. And then we just did, like you're saying, a weekend of shows in, what was that, March? We're still in March.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys just did that.
Oh yeah, okay. So that was like 2 weeks ago, give or take. Everything feels like a lifetime ago because I made a trip down to Florida to see my dad for a couple of days, and it was supposed to be like a 2.5 day trip, which turned into like a 5 day canceled flight experience.
Damn.
Like I said, and I got sick from it also. So it's like
Oh.
I don't know what happened last week or what happened like 3 months ago. So yeah, we did a short run of shows in the Northeast. We did a New Jersey, a Connecticut, and a Massachusetts show.
Okay.
If I think it was Connecticut. And, shit like that is cool because it's, hey, there's no pressure of a full tour. We're not worrying about, where are we staying every day each week. I hope we make enough money to, make it here, there. We were out for 3 days. We stayed at like one of my best friend's house in New
Hell yeah.
Jersey for 2 nights. So it
Perfect.
was like, oh, this is like an excuse to go and see, my best friend, his family also.
Yeah.
So it was another, and we were out with Paralysis, thrash band from New Jersey, which are good friends of ours. So it was awesome being able to spend time with them and just kind of play some shows and have a good time, kind of without the pressure. Hoping each show perpetuates it to make the tour worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
when we go out for a longer amount of time, there's more of that pressure, especially if we're, headlining, which, if you're going out to support a band, it's a lot more, comfortable as far as expectations. But then, there's a struggle of hoping you make enough money. You're competing for merch sales, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So this was like a nice quick run around the block, which interestingly enough, the second day we were in New Jersey, and that show was rad, man. There's a venue called Dingbats, which has been around like forever. I've been to shows there. We've never played there before. Just kind of, a mid-sized metal club. And I mean that in all the best ways possible, not in any negative context. And there was, I think it was a Mind Force and Mongoloid show like a mile and a half away. And I'm like, oh boy, I don't know, we might be screwed. And now to me, Paralysis and Extinction AD could have played with the Mongoloids and Mind Force. It would have made a perfect show. But I know just because I think like that doesn't mean a lot of other people think like that.
Sure.
So it was kind of, keep that in mind. And I think that show did really well, but our show also crushed. It was a packed house.
Hell yeah.
And it was just people, psyched to get wild on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
So we were all like super stoked. A bunch of our friends from the area came, obviously people we don't know were there, It was just every band pulled their weight. It was a lot of fun. But our guitar player, Ian, got like severely sick that morning. So we got to the venue and he straight up was like, yo, I'm going to get a hotel room for myself, try to like just fall asleep for a couple of hours, get better. So we did that and he was like, yo, I am fucked. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. I said, yo, if you want to just like sit behind your amp and just play, because he's our lead guitar player. I can't fucking shred like he can. I was like, whatever you need to do, you don't need to like, quote unquote perform or anything. So he toughed it out and came and played the show and was like, trying to not fall down while he was playing, which it was hilarious because I mean, he sounded great, but visually so funny because, me and Tom are up there playing and singing and Scuzz is behind the drums, killing it. And we're getting videos and Ian is just like his eyes closed, like just trying to focus on playing and not being sick. It was just funny. Like, between every break we take, he was coming up to me. He's like, yo, I don't know if I can make it through these next two songs. I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. You're fine. Okay, here's our next song. And, just like forcing him to like fucking tough it out. And as soon as he was done, he's like, can you pack up my stuff? I'm leaving. It's like, yep. So he immediately got an Uber back to his hotel.
Oh, poor guy.
Dude, getting sick like in life sucks, but like when you have to play a show, it's like the worst.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like
that shit happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like just an office job or something like that where you can just call out and it's fine, or you can just kind of baby yourself behind the computer. I mean, you're on fucking stage. Like that's a different beast.
Dude, so it's funny because Tom and I, Tom plays bass in This Is Hell and Extinction AD also. We were talking about being sick on tour.
Yeah.
And there was 2 times specifically that I was the sickest I've ever been on tour. And one of them coincided with Tom also.
Okay.
And both times were at the Magic Stick in Detroit.
Weird.
Yeah, which is not only that, both times for me and the one time for Tom, we had to play 2 sets each, like in the same night. So 2008, it was Soldiers, a band I sang for.
Yeah.
Ruiner, Elysia, and This Is Hell on I think it was a 5-week tour. It was the Misfortunes release tour.
Okay.
Soldiers is opening the tour each night. This Is Hell is closing the tour, and sometimes there's a local. So I was so sick, like flu. So like wake up, throwing up, like shivering, and Soldiers and This Is Hell are sharing a van. So, and we shared a bunch of members. So it's like 7 of us in the van. So wherever we woke up that day, I just went all the way into the back of the van, and I'm like, sleeping bag, coat, hat, gloves, just like sleeping the whole ride there. Everyone's like, oh, don't worry, we'll load, do the load in, 'cause there's like a monster staircase there too.
Of course.
Everyone like helped set up my gear and everything. So I was like, all right, time for Soldiers to play. I was like, all right, I could do this. So I just go up there, change it to my show clothes, and then like, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I feel like shit, but hey, I'm ready to go. And the band starts and you kind of forget that you're sick and you just kind of go for it. had a fun set. Everything's cool. I'm like, all right, I'm going to get dressed again and go back to sleep. So put on my same thing, coat, hat, gloves, back in my sleeping bag, back in the van. So for 2 bands, I went back to sleep, woke up, and then played with This Is Hell. And then, by the next morning, I was fine.
Wow.
But then December, I think it was December 19th, 2019, Extinction AD is on tour.
Yeah.
And we're going, the tour is based around heading to this festival in Detroit, where Travis from This Is Hell meets us in Detroit just to play the show.
Okay.
The night before, we played in Pittsburgh in like some squat. Just dude, the range of like places where Extinction AD will play, playing like, this wonderful venue in Cleveland. And we might have played like the Agora or somewhere, the smaller room or something.
Yeah.
In Cleveland, played some squat, which was essentially outside with like a like a space heater near the stage. In Pittsburgh, it's like, yo, we're gonna fucking die out here. It's freezing.
Jeez.
And then the next day, we're playing this festival in Detroit at the Magic Stick, and Tom and I got so sick in Pittsburgh. And I remember like everyone's bitching about it. I'm like, yo, suck it up. Like, this is what you got to do. Knowing full well, like, yo, this is fucked. We're all going to get sick. Like, singing outside in December, like, this is miserable. But like, one person kind of has to rally the troops,
Yeah.
So, because I'm the one doing it, I got super sick. Tom got super sick. We drive to Detroit and we're both like, fucked. So there's a couch behind one of the speakers on stage. So I fall asleep on that couch during the bands because I'm so shot.
Damn.
We play with Extinction AD. Like I said, you can just kind of suck it up and like you don't feel it for that 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Immediately I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can get through another set. Same thing with Tom. One band plays, then This Is Hell plays, we play, and we're fine. I think we only had like a couple more days for that tour after that. But we suck it up. We finish the tour. We go home. It's Christmas and everything. We're like, oh man, like we were kind of sick for a little while. Everybody is sick that Christmas and whatever. And then, COVID starts happening, in the Eastern world. And then, eventually, just like everything else, months later, the United States is like, oh my God, maybe something bad's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And COVID hits. And Tom and I are like, yo, I think we might have got COVID in December.
Yeah.
And like and obviously we'll never know if that's what it was. Like I said, it was also, it's the season, December, and playing in a squat in Pittsburgh outside isn't smart.
I remember, also right around that same time, December 19, January 2020, there was a period at work for me, I just work at, I work at Trader Joe's, and everyone got sick as fuck.
Yeah.
That something ransacked our entire store. And then sure enough, 2 months later, it's like, oh, there's this COVID thing. And all of us are like, that's what fucked all of us. There's no way to actually know that. But if you were getting sick around that point in time, it was probably COVID.
Yeah, we all chalked it up to that.
Yeah. Well, there was actually a tour on my mind that I wanted to ask you about, if you don't mind. I wanted to ask about the headlining European tour from back in 2009 with Dead Swans and the Blackout Argument.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my best friends in the world, I grew up with this guy, he actually saw you guys out there when you were on that run and ran into you guys at the Frankfurt airport.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I told him I was doing this, he was like, dude, you gotta ask them about that tour. So, is there anything in particular you remember from that tour?
There is so many good memories from that tour.
Okay.
First off, being with Dead Swans. We had known Dead Swans from the tour prior. I think we met most of those guys, and we might have played a show or two with them.
Okay.
So we knew that we wanted to, do a full run with them.
Yeah.
I think the agent that was booking us at the time had recommended the Blackout Argument, so we didn't know them prior to that. But nice guys, some like funny quirks with them.
Okay,
like two of the dudes in that band were like, I think I'd like just discovered Family Guy on that tour, so they were always like watching and referencing Family Guy, and they spoke English. Mm-hmm. And we speak German 0. So their quoting of the show with like the English they know, and then like saying a quote in English and laughing about it, and then talking about it in German.
Yeah.
for some reason was funny, and not like, oh, not funny laughing at them.
Yeah.
It was just their genuine appreciation of it. I don't know why that sticks with me so much. But we shared a van. It was supposed to be 2 vans amongst the 3 bands.
Okay.
But it essentially was us and Dead Swans in one van minus 1 member who would ride with Blackout Argument. I wound up actually singing on a Blackout Argument song on an EP, which I don't remember if that was before or after that tour. I assume after that tour.
But
yeah, it was fun to spend all that time with Dead Swans because, like I said, they were like, oh, buddies. But then it was like, hey, let's really hang out for a couple of weeks. During that tour, we had Dennis Wilson, who is from Pennsylvania. He's from like the Philly area.
Okay.
He's played drums in like a myriad of bands.
Rad.
He plays in Saves the Day. I think he's played in Saves the Day for like a long time now.
Holy shit.
But he had helped us out to play drums for that tour because our drummer prior had just quit. So we were looking for new drummers.
Okay.
So we started trying out some people, but then we had this tour. So it was a bit, oh shit, we need to find someone quick. So Dennis heard about the opportunity. He was like, hey, I want to do it. Here's a video of me playing a song. Like, yo, Dennis rips.
Hell yeah.
So it was going on tour with somebody we'd only known for like, 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
Which really could go either way.
Right.
But to me, Dennis fit in right away.
Perfect.
Humor-wise, demeanor-wise, ability-wise, Dennis was just super, super rad. Long story short, and, he didn't wind up sticking with the band afterwards, which worked out great for him because, like I said, he wound up playing in Saves the Day and all these other bands. He's like a pro drummer, and we're not. Like I said, we had so much fun playing with Dead Swans. We had, lots of really cool shows, tons of like ridiculous inside jokes. But once we got home from that tour, we're like, well, we still don't have a full-time drummer.
Yeah.
And the idea came up like, how crazy would it be if we tried to get Benny from Dead Swans to play in This Is Hell? Like, well, he sure is from a different country and continent. I'm like, yeah, let's just see. And we kind of chatted a bit, and it was, hey, I think we might be able to make this work. And Benny wound up joining This Is Hell for like a year and a half or 2 years.
Damn.
It's hard to say because between This Is Hell, Soldiers, Extinction A.D, American Ice Age, all these bands, I've played with so many different drummers. And I've like had the privilege of playing with a lot of really, really great drummers. So it was really hard for me to say like, this is my favorite drummer to play with, period. But Benny is at, like, if I had to even make any argument at all right, well then Benny is just tied for number 1 of my favorite drummer that I've ever played with. Because once again, like, it was almost more, I'm going like super tangent here, I know.
Yeah, it's fine. Let's
almost more of like instead of like with Dennis, like, oh, this dude's cool and we need a dude to play and he's great. Oh, he fits in great. It was almost like Benny got to test us out by hanging out with us and see like, do I really want to spend time with these assholes? And then to be like, oh, you know what? I do. And I'll go across countries to do it. It was like, oh yeah, Benny is just one of us.
Yeah.
And he's like still a good friend of mine. And we, still have the same stupid inside jokes that like constantly happen.
Oh, that's
but
rad.
It's like, that's like my favorite type of communicating with people. Like, hey, let's expand on this one inside joke that isn't funny to such a ludicrous amount that it's been so convoluted it has no bearing to what the original joke is.
Yeah.
But like 2 words of a text is funny. We know exactly what we're getting at. I have that relationship with Benny still.
Great.
Like I said, he started playing with us in 2009.
Damn. What's he doing now?
He plays in, he's another like professional drummer. He plays in like all these different bands and different projects, but like he's always busy. He's always adding to whatever project that he's playing in instead of like, oh, just give me a couple bucks and I'll, 4 on the floor, keep this beat. Like Benny is like an artist musician of a drummer.
Wow.
And again, to me, that's like high praise because like I played drums for a really long time, but I was never good at it. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, just like keep the beat and maybe like say 16th note fills. So like, yeah, the drummer's just there to keep the beat. So if it's like, oh, this is a good drummer who's like a musician, to me, that's like the highest compliment. But like,
oh yeah,
anybody who's lucky enough to be in a band or make music with Benny is like super, super lucky because, like I said, he's like the best dude, great sense of humor, and like a excellent musician, complete freak. Back to the initial question, like the tour, like
Sure.
that tour was rad. That was like for us like a headlining tour.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a headlining tour is like, oh, you're getting stuck playing last. But that didn't feel like it. That felt like, oh yeah, we're headlining this tour. It makes sense that we're playing last. We're playing 40, 45 minutes because it's Europe and not like in America, oh, you're playing last. The shorter, the better, because nobody really wants to be at a show for more than like 40 minutes, apparently.
So, well, real quick, is that like an actual thing with set times between the US and overseas? Like, is it
Yeah,
like
yeah,
actually
absolutely.
defined that headliners kind of get more love overseas than stateside?
To me, absolutely. My experience, totally.
Really?
Especially in hardcore, because in hardcore in the States, like first, second, or third band, say it's a 4-band show,
Yeah.
you can go up there, play 15 minutes, and be like, all right, hey, thank you, good night. And everyone's like, all right, cool, kick ass. And I feel like headlining at a hardcore show in the States, you play 30 minutes, hey, cool, thanks for showing up. And it's like, hey, you want to hear more? And it's like, no. Or if they're like, yeah, and you play, 35 minutes, it's like, you could really, really wear out your welcome. Like, I would never feel comfortable playing a hardcore show, playing like a 40, 45 minute,
Really?
50-minute set. Me personally. Now, if I'm going to see, like I said, Comeback Kid, they played all of Wake the Dead and some other songs. And I was like, oh, great. I think they played for about like an hour or so.
Damn.
But to me, like, yeah, I'm going to see this band that I love who was like not just active, but a legacy band at the same time. So yes, an hour. If I go see Sick of It All, like I want to see Sick of It All play for an hour.
Yeah.
If I'm going to see American Nightmare, if they play their entire discography, it might be an hour.
Right.
Now, I don't think American Nightmare ever would play an entire hour. And I think not just 2001 American Nightmare fan, but 2025 American Nightmare fan. I don't think the majority of those people would even want to see American Nightmare play for more than a half hour. And in the States, as far as, This Is Hell goes, we're talking hardcore here, I don't think headlining, especially, anybody has ever asked us to play for longer than like 40 minutes.
Wow.
And I don't think we've ever even done that.
Yeah.
Now, when you go over to Europe, especially as a headliner, they're expecting you to play 45 minutes. And a lot of times it's like, oh, yeah, you guys have an hour. It's like, yo, we're not Agnostic Front. Where This Is Hell is like, oh, but you're headlining. Like, if you only play for 45 minutes, like people might be a little like, they might be a little bummed out.
Wow.
So I think, yeah, that 2009 tour was the first time we went over planning to play 40, 45 minutes. If I remember correctly, I think we might have been playing like 19 songs on that tour because, like I said, Misfortunes had been out at that point a year and a month.
Okay.
And Misfortunes had some longer songs on it.
Yeah.
So we were playing quite a bit from Misfortunes. We were playing a lot off Sundowning. And then we still had some stuff from the EP. We were even playing a B-side from Misfortunes on that tour because we had released a 7-inch that in Europe that one of the B-sides was on. So we're like, hey, fuck it, let's play that song.
Yeah.
But I mean, me personally, as far as like getting up there and playing, like if people aren't bummed out, I'll play for 2 hours. Once I'm up there, I'm like, hey, let's go. Especially like This Is Hell, I'm not singing, so I don't have to worry about my voice. Now, with Extinction AD, it's a little different because we're always kind of in like the metal box. I don't put us in that box, but yeah, I get it. We're a fucking metal band more than anything else. I mean, I'm fine with it. But there'll be times where, whether we're, like I said, quote unquote, headlining or not in the States, we might be third of 4 or second of 3, and we'll get a 45-minute slot. Where we're like, yo, we're not going to play for 45 minutes if we're not playing last.
Right.
Because I personally find it a little obnoxious. I don't want to wear out my welcome. If we're not playing last, most likely we're not the band the majority of the people are there
Right.
to
Right.
see. Now, even when we play, headlining shows, and again, I put headlining in quotes, that's a little too long for me, because if we're playing last, there's usually 3 or 4 bands before us.
Yeah.
And all right, so you just sat through 3 or 4 other bands. And I don't mean that as a chore, sat through, but
Sure.
you were there for 3 or 4 other bands.
It's a long time.
You don't want us to, take up another 45 minutes of your time. So it's rare in the States that Extinction AD, no matter what our slot is, we're going to play longer than a half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've only been over to Europe twice with Extinction AD.
Okay.
Over those 2 times, there's been a small amount of those shows where we were headlining. Even on those shows, we would be prepared to play 35, 40 minutes, but also be prepared to cut it off at a half hour if anybody in the band feels like, we might kind of wear out our welcome. Because the last thing I want to do is to be kicking ass through a 30-minute set, especially in Europe, most likely wherever we have gone.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time we had been there. Hey, you're having a good time for 28 minutes. At the end of our last song at 29 and a half minutes, you're still having a good time. But if we get the feeling that if we do 2 more, we might kind of lose you on those 2 songs.
Yeah.
To me, it's not worth it. Now, if we're prepared for 35, 40 minutes and we're approaching 30 minutes and we know, hey, they want more, then we'll just, we'll keep going if we know we could hold on to them. So that's kind of like a playing it by ear type of thing. But I mean, as I feel like I have a great attention span for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
A 2.5 hour movie does not frighten me. A 3 hour movie doesn't frighten me so long as it's good.
Right.
But there's been bands I've seen that like they kick ass for 15 minutes and then they lose me for 12.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not my attention span. It's more so just sometimes the shit wanes a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want to be a wear out my welcome as I just talk your ear off for 20 minutes right now. That's the caffeine talking right now.
No, it's all good. Well, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of something I never really thought about. I mean, I've never played overseas, so I've never had that personal experience with that. But I mean, that's just interesting because I mean, I definitely know. I mean, I remember one time I was speaking with, I think it was one of the guys from Every Time I Die a few years ago, and they had said something about how they usually always liked to play 3rd out of 4 and not be the headliner. And that kind of stuck with me because I was like, why would you not want a headline? But then over the years, it started to sink in that like being the 3rd band on a 4-band bill might be the best spot.
Oh, dude, absolute sweet spot. And it's for so many reasons. But if you're not headlining, that means the pressure of the show isn't on you.
Yeah.
As well as the majority of the people there are there to see the headliner. But if it's, like you said, 3rd of 4 bands, it's a little easy to show up late, miss the first band, roll in, towards the middle of the second band set, or you roll up as the second band starting. Like, all right, I'm going to, catch up with my friends, hang out in the back, look at the merch, grab a drink. By the 3rd band, like, oh, I can't wait to see the last band. But like, oh, I'm going to check out this 3rd band. If that 3rd band's prepared, they're going to steal everybody because they're not worn out or fatigued. And they're kind of like at the peak of getting excited.
Yes.
It really is that sweet spot, as well as, and by pressure of being the headliner, a lot of that is kind of behind the scenes stuff and like, quote unquote optics of it, which I try to think about as little as possible because my least favorite part, there's 2 of my least favorite parts about doing music, but
let's
like,
hear them.
Anything that's business oriented, I get it. Especially because like, hey, guess what I want to not do? Work a regular job.
Yeah.
Everything business about music, for the most part, really sucks and is not fun or creative. Right. And then like my least favorite part B is like marketing. Like, all right, you got this great band, your songs are good, and this, that, and the other thing. Like, okay, now let's develop a strategy of how to put stuff on the internet. Like, I'm gratified by writing music and putting it out there into the world. Whether or not I'm good at it is not for me to say, but I enjoy it, and that's my like the fun part about it. Putting that, like, all right, now let's post on Instagram, put this on Facebook. Like, God, I'm a musician to write and play music, not to like play on the internet.
Yeah.
Going on Instagram or Facebook, hey, I do all that stuff and it's fun, but like that's like a diversion for me. That's not
Right.
like the fun or the goal. That type of stuff, and like if you're the headliner, even if band 3 is part of your like tour package, so like your agent or you or whoever, however you book shows, you probably negotiated what band 3 is getting paid, but you also negotiated what you're getting paid. And if band 3 plays to all of your crowd and fucking rocks and the crowd's going nuts,
Yeah.
and then for one reason or another they're a little worn out, so they either just go to the back to like, oh yeah, I'm here for the headlining band, I had so much fun during the third band, I'm just gonna kind of hang back and like watch the last band, oh I love it, that's why I'm here, but I'm not actively involved. Or like, oh I don't know, I just got so tired, that third band was so good, like, and I do have work in the morning, like I've seen the headlining band a million times, even though I came to see them, I gotta bounce. There's little things like that that could work against you as a headliner, and also work against you where now the promoter is paying you the agreed upon amount,
Right.
but hey, you really got shown up by Every Time I Die last time. But then it could go into like the promoter, well, next time you come, I'm not going to give you the amount that you got last time because it was really the third band that did that good. And now, like I said, that's stuff that like I'm very, very aware of because I've been doing this forever.
Right.
But I try to like, yeah, I know that that's a thing and I take that into consideration, but like, I'm not going to think about that stuff too much because I just don't give a shit about that.
Right.
But, you know, it is the reality of it where the third band, they got all the positives of being a part of that show. And the only, you know, quote unquote negative is that they got paid way less than, most likely, way less than the headliner. But if all of what I'm saying is taken into consideration, there's more money being thrown around than most people would think anyway. So even getting less than the headliner, that third band's getting plenty of money and having so much more fun anyway. So I absolutely agree with that sentiment. You know, playing right before the headliner is like the sweet spot, especially if your ego isn't as such that you need to be like the headliner, of which I am sure it would just be a complete fallacy if I said I've never had that type of ego. Hopefully, even when I did, it was apparent to as little people as possible.
Yeah.
But I also know myself. There's been times where I've absolutely had an ego, which has been like, dude, who the fuck do you think you are? But especially now, God, I could not have less of an ego when it comes to that type of thing. So much so that Extinction A.D. is playing New England Death Metal Bonanza.
Yes.
New England Death Metal Fest Bonanza this coming June. I think it's late June. And we were so excited to be asked to play that. So we got asked, and it was like before any like, you know, negotiations were started, I just said, oh yeah, we'll totally do it. Which also shows how shitty at business I am. And then it was kind of like, oh cool, because like we're looking for some headliners for the last day. And I was like, oh, you know, we would love to like not headline, like even if that means like less when we start negotiating like how much it costs. And they're like, oh yeah, we just have like headliners each day, but like I was gonna put you right before insert unannounced band name here who's playing last. And I'm like, oh boy, like I don't want to even say, oh, we're actually not good enough to be in that spot. And I was like, oh dude, totally, that's cool. He's like, does this amount of money work? And I'm like, oh, absolutely. So it was like, oh, we got our regular amount of, hey, we're going X amount of miles, so we need Y amount of dollars. Getting that amount of, you know, money, compensation, whatever the fuck, to play in what I feel is the best slot of the night. Now, the band that is headlining and playing above us, they are going to have the best slot of the night because they are a bigger band.
Sure.
Which is like, oh, we're just happy to play with that band because those are like some old buddies of ours with some new buddies of ours and a band we don't get to play with very often. And we're just excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the type of thing also where like, to be honest, I don't really know what the perception is of Extinction AD. And that goes across the board as far as when you think about, like we talked about, like, you know, business and optics of like, is this a big band or is this a little band or like, you know, that type of thing. Like well, first of all, I don't care about that type of stuff,
Sure.
especially at this point in my life. But it is interesting when that comes up when a festival slot is offered. Because like I said, I was very surprised that we were just offered the slot. Hopefully, I'm not shooting myself in the foot of like, hey, don't expose this stuff or you're not going to get asked to play these things anymore. I was very flattered that we got asked to play at all. But it was like, oh, yeah, these are our peers and some other bands we play with. But like, cool. Yeah, we're a Northeast band. It's in the Northeast. Like, we're not on tour around that time. We just put out this new record. Personally, I think our record fucking kicks ass.
It does.
Hey, well, thank you. But so I guess other people think that is cool too. And like, yeah, those guys are kind of cool. It'd be fun to hang out with them. Let's put them on. So just being acknowledged is cool.
Yeah.
Being offered should we start calling this the Every Time I Die slot?
We might have to call it the E-Tid slot.
It's almost not fair because like they're bona fide headliners unto themselves.
They are.
So for them to be thankful to have the direct support slot is super cool. So for us to be asked to be put in that slot on such a cool festival or any show, like I said, we played that show in New Jersey the other night with Paralysis.
Right.
And the night before we were the headliner. I think on the Sunday show, we might have been the headliner. So it's kind of like we would flip flop. So it was cool that in Jersey we weren't. And it was like, oh, that was the best show of the 3 days. So it's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
It's kind of all the rewards with very little of the risk. The only like non-reward is like, all right, you got to pack up your shit real quick. Like,
yeah,
hey, we do stuff so quick anyway. Like we're just, we play fast and we get on and off stage fast too.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a plus for the audience is when that teardown is quick. I mean, there's nothing worse than sitting between bands for 25 minutes while they're tearing down when it's like, come on, man. Like, I know it doesn't take that long. Just hurry up. Like, I know I've done it before. It's not that much. Well, so I wanted to actually ask real quick too about Sundowning. It's coming up on its 19th birthday pretty soon. What are your thoughts now that it's of legal voting age and almost legal drinking age?
Wow, that's crazy. I could tell you this much. Sundowning was not homeschooled. Hopefully, Sundowning is in a decent school or doing something that it's enjoying doing outside of school. Dude, I'm so thankful for that time in my life. Lots and lots of learning experiences went into the first 2 years of This Is Hell. This Hell started in May of 2004. We recorded Sundowning February and March 2006, and then it was released May 2006. Sundowning is so interesting because it was different people took the leads on different things as far as songwriting and then art direction and then lyric writing and, the business side. But to a certain extent, everybody in the band had their input and everything. So, of course, like any collective, it's never like, hey, there's 5 guys, so everything was done 20%. But if I could say this in the most positive way possible, like everybody's footprints is all over not just that album, but everything that was surrounding the band at that time, for better or worse.
Sure.
But let's go just for better, because that album is what made it possible for any of us in the band, but me specifically, to make music my vocation for many years, which is crazy to be able to do that as a hardcore band. Now, don't get me wrong, I racked up thousands and thousands of dollars of debt, but I did it happily during that time. And it was like a sacrifice that I was never questioning, because like, to me, that was what it took to make This Is Hell a full-time thing. So would I pick up a job here or there when I was home to like make a few bucks? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But only things that like, all right, well, now I got to go back out on tour because I'm on tour more than I'm not by far.
Yeah.
And pre-recording that record and even after, like the point of every day was to wake up and play a new city or wake up at home and play my guitar and write new music or practice these songs or, go out to some other show and hang out with some buddies from another band or just buddies from home based around music.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because all that stuff is so positive, and not that the album content isn't positive, but the album is very, very energetic, but also kind of melancholy.
Yeah.
Which I guess in the way, like that's those are like the ingredients that make This Is Hell. This Is Hell.
Yes.
How can you put the most like ferocious energy and execution behind melancholy feelings and almost bordering on depressive kind of internal monologue, which is like, oh, hey, there's if I could be like very egocentric for a second, like
let's do it.
There's a very perfect summation of where my head was at, I would say, from 2001 to potentially 2013. I think it comes out the absolute most in Misfortunes, but Sundowning is the album that set all of it in motion, that made people pay attention to This Is Hell.
Yeah.
People liked the demo. The EP really got us rolling. But like, if memory serves, without me rewriting history in my own like delusion, people were excited about Sundowning coming out, like anticipating it, and then jumped on and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
While it was happening. So being able to take like half positive, half negative internally, put it into this expression, record it with everybody, even sonically, giving it its like own signature sound, of which I still don't even know if I'm used to it or I have issues with the sound of that record, but it was all done intentionally.
Okay. Yeah.
So that might even been a strange way of wording it as far as saying I have issues with it, but it both does and does not sound like a typical hardcore record sonically.
Yes. I can kind of agree with that because I mean it does kind of have its own sound and energy that's different from even some of the other This Is Hell albums. I mean, it's very much got this very uniqueness to it that is just incredible. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's definitely a really good mix between like that real hardcore-ness, if we can call it that, and that also very almost kind of an introspective kind of a thing with the lyrics and stuff. I mean, it's an incredible album.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was, like I said, we all came from such different spectrums of hardcore in the band around that time. And I was, my biggest contribution to that album was, songwriting as far as like musically. And there's lots of things that to me are kind of the time Rick isms and things I still, whether I use them as much anymore, maybe not in the same way. And, kind of lots of like minor chords, not just minor chord progressions, but like minor chords in a way, like a little bit of, oh, that's really strange that you have like a Queensryche influence on your Sick of It All style hardcore band. And then we always got the American Nightmare parallel, which never bothered me because I was always grabbing more from Hope Conspiracy than I was American Nightmare. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I was grabbing from American Nightmare.
Sure. Because,
probably my two favorite hardcore bands of that era are Hope Conspiracy and American Nightmare. But I was personally always grabbing more from Hope Con than American Nightmare. But I'm so fixated on Sick of It All and Minor Threat that Hope Conspiracy through my lens is going to be, it's kind of American Nightmares. And then it's also like, well, I fucking love American Nightmare also.
Yeah.
So, and those parallels never bothered me. Even if someone would be like, guys are like a second-rate American Nightmare. Be like, oh, cool. I'm glad we're not a fourth-rate American Nightmare. But I mean, it's just pure expression. It really was. So much so with like, Sundowning has some like ripping, fist-fighting breakdowns, and then is also very, very melodic.
Yeah.
But with those two things, like you think, all right, 2006, huge breakdowns and very melodic. Like, oh, so you're just like a metalcore band. In my opinion, This Is Hell never sounded like metalcore.
No.
Now, if someone said, yo, the breakdown to Broken Teeth, of course that's metalcore. I'd be like, well, I'm not going to argue with you on that. We're playing drop C sharp chugging dun, 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 dun. Like, all right, yeah, that's fucking metalcore, whether I like it or not. I don't give it's a fucking label. Who gives a shit?
Exactly. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, it's so much of that stuff, but then you put, the lyrics on that album, which, if memory serves, Jeff, our bass player at the time, wrote that album lyrically
Really?
completely. And for my money, like, Jeff Tiu is probably my favorite lyricist ever.
Okay.
He was the singer and lyricist for the Backup Plan from Long Island, still playing today.
Oh, rad. Okay. Okay.
Just, in my opinion, just unbelievable turn of phrase. While, hey, I'm going to write something introspective. I'm going to write something appropriate to the music every time, because any band I've been in, it's always music first and then lyrics second,
Yes.
because the music kind of, in my opinion, dictates or guides
Exactly.
the vibe of what
Yes.
the lyrics are going to be about.
Yeah.
So Jeff hearing a song, all right, get the vibe. Now this is what I think it is. And then doing it, writing something interesting while catchy, and like, Jeff is like too smart sometimes. In my opinion, he always gets like, well, I'm going to be smart, but I'm going to just not write over people's heads. Jeff doesn't
Okay.
write Bad Religion songs, but Jeff loves Bad Religion.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, Jeff was like, what a compliment to, oh, I wrote this song. Okay, cool. I wrote these lyrics. Like, wow, man, like, thank you for making my mediocre song seem like something people should actually listen to now. And then, of course, you have another guitar player play the second guitar parts. Jeff was playing bass time, have Jeff put his bass down. Our drummer at the time, great drummer, put his stuff down. And then Travis's delivery, I love poking fun at Travis. It's like probably number 3 on my top 5 favorite things to do. But I mean, would Sundowning be, or would anything This Is Hell be what it is if somebody else sang on it? Like, absolutely not.
No, not
like,
at all.
Travis's voice and interpretation of the lyrics and all of that is like just another like integral
Right.
element to everything. Like I said, I love poking fun at Travis, but only it's all in good fun. Like, This Is Hell would be fucking nothing without Travis. And that's not just because he's the singer and the front man. Travis did every little thing that nobody in a band, that I don't want to do in a band. All the stuff I named before.
Yeah.
Like the business stuff.
The marketing.
Not only, I don't know if he enjoys it or not, but he'd never bitched about it then or now. He helps out. He's the Extinction A.D's manager.
Oh, wow.
And like, being Extinction A.D's manager is so thankless because we're not making enough money to pay anybody. So he just does it because like he wants to help out. Like,
That's rad.
so whether or not he enjoys it, he never bitches about it. So that in itself, like,
That's incredible.
working with anybody in any environment, let alone a band, and having them not bitch about something like, oh, hey, gold star.
Yeah.
The internet stuff, I don't know whether he admits or not. Travis loves going on the internet and doing shit like that, which is like, no, none of us want to do that.
Right.
Again, like I said, when we were talking about long set times, everything, like, oh, I'll play this L set for an hour. Yeah, asshole, because you're, strumming an E chord and then playing an E flat and then like maybe an A sharp. Like, I don't, and like, oh, I'm going to sing some backups. Oh, Travis, singing so easy. Like, yeah, because I'm singing 5 words a song.
Yeah.
Like, getting up there and having to sing, whether it's a hardcore band or Lady Gaga or anything, going up on stage and having to sing for a half hour or plus is so difficult. And I always give Travis shit like, yo, stop being so lazy. But I mean, it's fucking around because getting up on stage and performing, singing is difficult.
Yeah.
Period. And we played well over, I think we're probably into the 12 or 1300 range of shows now.
Damn.
Like, This Is Hell. Like, that shit is difficult, man. So all of that into it, let alone like from essentially the start, Travis and I, we're the stalwart members of This Is Hell, the consistent ones. And, we've had people come and go. That's like a partnership that like was very unexpected to me, because I knew Travis from shows and hardcore and then, fucking around playing baseball.
Yeah.
But like, if you would have asked me in 2003, Travis from Scratch the Heart Attacks, like, that's going to be the consistent band member throughout your life starting
Wow.
2004. I would be like, wow, that's crazy. But it's cool, man. So like I said, everybody has had their role in Sundowning. I
Uh-huh.
mean, dude, Travis negotiated, even when we had managers and booking agents, Travis was always out managing the manager.
Damn. Okay.
Travis was always out booking the booking agent. Every label This Is Hell had been on, and we had been on some like rad record labels, and we had gotten some deals that, like, who knows, because music business is crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, yo, This Is Hell, Extinction AD, what, we shouldn't be getting this deal. Like, how the fuck did we do that? Like, I don't know. Travis did it. His contributions to, it's not even fair to just say This Is Hell, not just Extinction AD, but like Rick Jimenez's musical career, like Travis Riley's contributions just could not possibly be overstated.
Well, cheers to Travis.
Yes, yeah, and I'll never say it again, let alone on a recording.
So totally unrelated to that. Being from New York, I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume you know a thing or two about pizza.
Yes.
First things first, how do you like your pie?
So I am the least pizza snob on earth.
Okay.
I also will eat pizza when we play a show and someone's like, oh, I got your pizzas. Okay, the pizza's there. I will enjoy any type of pizza under any circumstances ever. I will not go and buy a slice of pizza just for fun.
Really?
It's got to be under certain circumstances. I am not Mr. Health under any spectrum, especially the older I get.
Sure.
I become less and less disciplined, but I am mindful to an extent of what I eat. So pizza is one of those absolute indulgences or only out of necessity types of things. But that does not mean I don't relish every single opportunity that makes it so I will eat pizza. So up until I would say I lived outside New York for a little while. I just moved back about a year and change ago. And all that said about pizza, how I'm not like a big pizza guy. Just the fact moving back to New York, I'm like been craving pizza.
Yeah.
Whenever me and my wife move, the moving day, no matter where we're going, we will eat pizza.
Perfect.
Okay. So we did over the past like couple of months, I've been craving it, but there was no reason to.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, one of my wife's friends flew in and she's staying with us for a couple of days. And she has a young kid, so young kid will eat pizza. So
Naturally.
it's like, oh, we're going to fly to New York, we're going to eat pizza. So I know for like a week, like, yo, I'm going to eat pizza on Friday. So I actually ate pizza last night.
Perfect.
So there is, my favorite spot is called Little Vincent's. There's the original location in Ronkonkoma, New York. There's another one in Huntington.
Okay.
They're super, super basic. It's just they make cheese pizza. The only other thing you could do is, they'll put cold cheese on top of it. Now, I don't even eat cheese. So like for decades now, if I eat pizza, I'm scraping the cheese off. I won't order it without cheese because like the bullshit of the cheese, when you scrape it off,
right.
I know if it's been there or not. And I need it to have been there.
Yeah.
So it was like, should we just get Little Vincent's? I was like, they want a pepperoni, so we can't go to Little Vincent's. So we have another place near us called Gino's. There are 5 locations on Long Island. The Nesconset one that we live near is the second of 5.
Okay.
It opened in 2009. So we ordered from Gino's. We got half cheese, half pepperoni.
Yum.
Now, I've been waiting, like I said, a week to eat a pepperoni slice. Now, the pepperoni slice is like, oh shit, what do I do? Because I can't eat the cheese, but I'm not going to take the pepperoni off and put it back on. So I'll suck it up and eat it with the cheese on it. So I had a pepperoni slice and 2 non-cheese slices of pizza last night, and they were so good. And nothing special, just regular. Yep. So it was just absolutely fantastic. But Gino's would actually be my number 3 choice. Number 2 would be Rosa's in Huntington.
Okay.
And I will go for the barbecue chicken slice.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, barbecue chicken pizza, always good call. Well, Rick, after, that super rad comeback kid show in Brooklyn, what's next for This Is Hell specifically? I know you guys said that you're working on a new album. Any idea when the world might hear that one?
I am absolutely hoping for this summer. Okay. Which is very attainable. I mean, we're essentially done with the recording. We have one last element to add to the recording, and then we're essentially good to go. It's going to be a 5-song EP.
Okay.
The specifics around the release, I think, are going to be absolutely super cool when we are at liberty to discuss them. I'm sure we'll find a bunch of shows to play
Yeah.
To coincide with the release. Dude, we're having a lot of fun. You know, it's really cool to be in a band that played for active for 8 years in our first run, like I said, playing, well over 11 or 1,200 shows, essentially nonstop all over the world, tons of EPs, a whole bunch of records, all this stuff. And then to take a break without breaking up.
Yeah.
We, at that point, it was like, what are we going to do a breakup for? Make a big deal about it, knowing full well, like, well, we don't really want to end it. Like, nope. We knew when our last show before we took this break was going to be, and we let a very, very, very select few people know, just in case something happened that we weren't ever able to play again, to be like, we're planning on playing again in the future, but who knows? So this may be our last chance to see us, if not forever, for, X amount of time. But we didn't make like a big thing. Like I said, it was maybe 15 people we told that to, which was cool because when we did play that last show, a few friends from like way outside of the area just showed up. It's like, oh,
nice.
Here's some people from the West Coast and some people from Texas, coming to this random Long Island show. But being able to take that break and then, all right, in 2016, hey, let's just record and release this record totally surprising on the anniversary of Sundowning.
Yeah.
Like, well, let's just do that. Maybe we put out that record as a surprise. Let's go play some shows. Hey, we're going to play this random festival in Montreal, and then we're going to play, a show in Virginia Beach. Like, having the liberty to do that, and now it's kind of like, hey, we're open to offers all over the place, and if we're around and we can make it work, hey, we'll just go and do it.
Yeah, why not?
So being in that position is super, super cool, and we're all grateful to have that. And it's such a it's not a complete opposite, but it's pretty different from the way Extinction AD operates, which makes it a lot of fun. So even getting together, like, got some new songs, let's write and record these songs, and we'll put out an album and play some more shows. It's like, all right, cool, let's do it.
Great.
So don't quote me on the summer thing, but that's what we're hopeful for. And like I said, of course, we'll be playing some shows around there. And it's kind of like, who knows? If someone's like, hey, you want to do this tour that goes for a month and a half and it works, like, hey, sure, let's go do that. But if it's like, hey, you want to play these 4 shows that are of this gigantic nature, and it's like, well, we would love to, but we can't do it because of A, B, and C, then we won't do it. And it doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, are there any, going back to Sundowning, do you guys have any special plans for the birthday of that?
Didn't even cross my mind till you just said it. So I guess we have about a year and 2 months to think about it. I mean, if the interest was there, I would love to. Hey, it's the 20th anniversary. Let's go play in New York, Massachusetts, and Philadelphia or something. Yeah. And we'll play the album start to finish, and it'll be a lot of laughs.
That'd be incredible.
We did that a few times, I think, in 2019 or 2021 or something.
Okay.
I seriously think it might have been, hey, we want This Hell to play this show, and can you play all of Sundowning? It was almost like asked as one thing, which is funny because now that I'm thinking about it, like, what a presumptuous thing to ask a band. But it didn't seem presumptuous at the time. Yeah. It was like, we got asked to do it, and I said, I'll do that. Everyone's like, oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, why not?
So we just did it a few times. Those shows are always fun because first off, you don't have to worry about the set list. Hey, we'll just play the shit in order. Like,
easy.
And then there's like a song or two from that record that, well, there's one song that like never got played live unless we were playing the album start to finish.
Which one?
Procession Commence.
Okay.
I think probably my least favorite This Is Hell song in the entire discography.
Damn.
But I mean, that's okay. I mean, I'll play it. Sometimes there's going to be a song that just, doesn't work for you.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, which is funny because it's like within the camp, it's like so well known that it's almost like, Rick, you got to play this song. And it's like, yeah, I'll play the fucking song. But yeah, I mean, that shit's always fun. So I'd be down to do that. I think on the the 10-year anniversary, we did like some like commemorative shirts.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do that again. But I don't, people, we just did 20th anniversary This Is Hell shirts last year. So I don't know if anybody would really be like, oh man, I got that 20th anniversary shirt. I got to get the 20th anniversary of your record shirt.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I maybe if like something cool and a good design comes up that isn't just purely like some corny capitalistic endeavor, because that kind of ruins the fun of the things. But at the same time is like, I'm all for celebrating something for the sake of celebration, you know, like I'm not doing it this year, but most years we make like the biggest deal out of WrestleMania just because like it's an excuse to make a big deal out of something.
Yeah,
Let's
why
have a
not?
good time. So I'm usually up for shenanigans of that. But yeah, especially now that you brought it up, you know, the new EP will definitely be out at that point. So it's kind of like any excuse to get together and have a good time and like make a thing out of things. The only issue that might arise is like, oh no, we might have to headline if we do that.
Yeah, you might have to if you do that. Well, so if that's what's going on with This Is Hell, you said that this summer you've got the New England Death Metal Fun Time Bonanza with Extinction A.D. Are there any more banger one-off festivals with Extinction A.D. that we should know about?
None that I'm allowed to talk about yet.
Okay.
But we didn't announce this yet, but it doesn't matter. This is no big deal. That whole weekend of the Death Metal Bonanza, we're going to be playing shows with Texas Toast Chainsaw Massacre from Chicago.
Rad.
Those have been buddies of ours since the beginning of Extinction A.D. And we've played shows together in Chicago and just outside Chicago, but we've never been able to get together and, you know, do a trip.
Okay.
So this was like a fun excuse to do it. So we're going to be playing in Baltimore with those guys.
Rad.
I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing a New York City area show with those guys, depending on specifics, because Extinction AD in New York City is a case-by-case scenario.
Okay.
There's some places that I don't think we need to play in New York City, and there are some places that it may or may not be wise for them to have us play there.
Okay.
Which goes goes to that song "Escape from New York."
Sure.
Yeah, there might be some people that might not even know that it wouldn't be in their best interest to have us be in their presence again.
Yeah.
But so in those situations, sometimes it's better for us to not put ourselves in a situation where we might wind up getting ourselves into some trouble.
Yeah, it's usually good to avoid those kinds of things just in general.
You know what? And I am all about, you know, I'm all, this goes into it, you know, we will confront any trouble head on, but maybe to not put ourselves in a situation where we know we will be confronting somebody with some trouble.
Yeah.
Is, you know, like I said, is in somebody else's best interest. So we're trying to figure out exactly what the specifics are for that New York show. Because, I mean, dude, there's tons of rad spots in Queens and Brooklyn. And there's not tons of rad spots in Staten Island. But, I mean, Staten Island is a place musically I've not really been able to go very often.
Okay.
But I'm all for, because it's kind of like this unexplored spot.
Yeah.
And it's its own little world. Dude, not that this has anything to do with anything either, really, kind of. But like the Bronx, I feel like the Bronx is like the hidden, unknown, unexplored region for New York, like New York hardcore. Like there's very, very few bands from the Bronx in New York hardcore canonically. Some really great bands like Fahrenheit 451, District 9, even like Four in the Chamber. I know there's like deep cut shit, but like there's been, in my opinion, cool bands from the Bronx, but there's never been like a poppin' spot for heavy music in the Bronx.
Oh, okay.
And I think like I wish that would be something that would be rectified, but I'm not from the Bronx, so like what the fuck. You know, dude, there's also some areas of the Bronx that are like kind of like the last remnants of like old New York, if I could say that without being like a crusty old guy.
Okay.
I don't mean that to demonize or glorify old New York, because I know that's like the cool thing to do for some ancient nonsense people. It's just the fact of the matter. But especially, you know, being Puerto Rican. I would love to get Extinction AD somehow playing, some show in the Bronx. But,
Hell yeah. One
I
day.
doubt this will. Yeah, I don't think this run in June will be the time, but I'm very open to it. Yeah, we got that shit going on in June. Extinction AD is playing in Connecticut in April at the Crunch House, which is just small, packed in, kind of.
Perfect.
When you look for the address, it's kind of Ask a Punk. So
that's
gonna be rad. We got some other stuff cooking post June,
okay,
as well as the fact that while we're still playing off of To the Detested, the record we put out in August, shit, man, we're ahead of the game. We got musically, we're already another album deep. So it's figuring out how much further we're going to go as far as writing before we clamp down and say, okay, let's actually start planning the release and the recording of the next record. But it's, dude, it's always go. You know, with This Is Hell, even though it's sparse of when we do stuff, it's always like, cool, what's next? What's next? Extinction AD is always like writing, booking more shows, playing more shows, working on our YouTube show. It's Go Time, You Asshole. all these things. It's always, keeping things fresh. And if we're not out touring, it's what else are we doing that's giving us an excuse to get together and kind of fuck around, whether it's serious shit like, well, the writing of the music is serious, but the playing of the music is pure enjoyment. The recording of the music is pure enjoyment. Doing our YouTube show, like I said, that's an excuse to fuck around on camera and get caffeinated.
Hell yeah.
So everything is about gratification personally between, the 4 of us in Extinction AD, the 5 of us in This Is Hell, and then outwardly, how can we go and bring it to other people and hopefully, get them in on our fun while we express everything that's wrong with the world and whether we have a solution or not.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead and plug the socials here so everyone knows where to find you and listen to you and watch the YouTube.
Extinction AD is just at Extinction AD everywhere. That's on Instagram, YouTube, whatever Twitter is called. We don't really even use Twitter anymore, but Threads and all that stuff.
Okay.
Anything social media is just at Extinction AD. This Is Hell, I believe, is at This Is Hell NY, essentially everywhere.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that shit.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, real nice and easy. We run all our stuff, so even if you just send a DM, I got a DM on the Extinction AD account the other day. Hey, how do you play Escape from New York on guitar?
Wow.
All right, I'll do my best to help you. At first I was like, well, it's lots of chords and squealy notes, like we're tuned in C sharp standard, if that helps. Dude's like, okay, so he wrote up like a whole tab. He's like, is this right? And
damn.
If I have the time, I'll respond and be like, well, that's right, that's off, that's it.
That's
I don't know if I'll have time to sit down and write out a full tab for him, but I'm flattered anyone's listening to our music, let alone wants to play it on guitar. But
that's awesome.
Escape from New York is a rad song, so
it is.
It's fun to play. So if I could help out this guy, same thing with This Is Hell. If it's like, hey, I was wondering why Rick hates playing Procession Commence, we'll probably respond and give you an answer.
Yeah, you might get some questions like that after this episode comes out. Who knows?
Which is cool. Like I said, man, I'm just flattered anybody has ever given anything I've done musically the time of day, let alone, like you said, we're coming up on 20 years of Sundowning.
Yeah.
That's the record that really made it possible for me to do anything and to learn the ropes. I was doing it before and I'm doing it after, but I mean, I'm fully aware that was the record that, made This Is Hell what it was. And even made it so I can meet people outside of my own little bubble on Long Island. So I was able to start Extinction AD and venture into a totally different world.
Sure.
So yeah, man, like I said, totally flattered, very gratified that I've been able to have a career in music and been afforded the opportunity to enjoy playing my guitar for so long and be able to like express the way I'm feeling and stuff. And stuff.
All right. Well, hot damn, everyone. That was Rick Jimenez from This Is Hell and Extinction AD. What an awesome escape from New York that was, talking to you today. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing some strange. Can't wait to see you out on the road, man. I don't know if I'll be able to get to New England Death Metal Fun Time Bonanza, but I will be out in New York in October, so hopefully there might be some shows then.
Hell yeah.
Well, again, thank you, man.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, man. A lot of fun.
All right, everyone, stay tuned for more strange and unusual tales from tour. Thanks for listening to the Hesh Files, and we'll catch you on the flip side.